I want to do a little bit of a follow-up on the case we've been talking about on this show in the great state of Texas, right here in Dallas, involving a dispute between parents, a mom and dad who are divorced. They are the parents of twin boys. The mom has been pushing the transitioning, the transgendering of one of her 7-year-old sons, one of the twins, from a boy to a girl. The entire case played out in front of a jury. In fact, much of America was watching this trial. A jury came back a few days ago and found in favor of the mother. It's a little more complicated than that, but the short story is the jury found in favor of the mother, who is pushing the transgendering, the changing of her young boy's gender from boy to girl, beginning with social transitioning, moving forward to puberty blockers in a few years, eventually moving toward pushing this boy to become a girl. Testimony at trial that bothered so many people, including the dad who's been trying to stop this, included that many of the little boy's friends, their family, have been saying the kid is a boy. He's a boy, and when he's with his dad, he says he's a boy. He plays with boy things. This is a mom who's really decided this young boy, this precious young boy, needs to be turned into a girl. The development since we last talked, first of all, the sentencing was, or the judge's rendering of the decision after the jury's finding was supposed to be yesterday. It was pushed forward to today at 1:30. At the time we go to press here, I don't know what the judge said, but I do have a great friend who's keeping me informed via email. I'll find out from her and I'll let you know next week. But the great steps are, number one, the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, Republican Texas governor Greg Abbott, has stepped in. He has notified both the Texas Attorney General's office as well as the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services that he wants those two agencies to step in to see if anything can be done to stop this transgendering of this precious, innocent 7-year-old boy. And so I love the spirit of that, because in Texas, we have at least that sense of common sense, some sense that this is just wrong and crazy, and that society has been pushed along by the radical LGBTQ steamroller, just determined to force society to accept all the latest, whatever the latest iteration is of transgenderism and all the related confusion being pushed by the transgender and LGBTQ communities, including this young boy. Again, I'll say very clearly, this is a country founded on freedom. And when you are an adult in America, if you choose to change, to deal with your gender dysphoria or your mental unrest about not wishing you were the opposite gender of what you are, in America, when you're an adult, you're allowed to make that change. That is something, obviously, people do and try and go back. There's all sorts of data showing how extremely harmful and detrimental it is to the mental health of the person going through those things. But as an adult, you're allowed. But in America, and especially in Texas, but in America, we need the adult community to stand up when you have a young child, literally, whose future entire life is put at risk. Happiness, the ability to be normal, to live a normal life, put at risk by a decision by a mom, which is not even supported by the dad of the same kid. The mom wants it, the dad doesn't, and the court said to mom, go ahead and do it. This is, fortunately for us, we had both our governor and many other people in the state weighing in. That's point one I wanted to make. Point two in this first five on this case in Texas involves how the idea of how this child, even now at age 7, is going through life. Meaning that, you know how kids, and sadly adults, talk about all the time, kids can be mean. Kids are mean, especially young kids. Kids are mean because some other kid in their class is perceived as too tall, too short, too skinny, too heavy, funny looking, all the reasons kids tease other kids. This is a boy in 2nd grade who's 7 years old in a room full of students where the school is treating the boy as a girl at the mother's request, gave the little boy, whose name is James, the girl name of Luna. And this little boy is being dressed by his mother as a girl, sent to school as a girl. The class has been told you have to treat this boy like a girl, and the little boy is using the girls' restroom. So in normal circumstances, everyone knows kids can be mean. The idea of what this kid is going through psychologically at school because his mother has some fantasy about having a daughter instead of a son, that itself is outrageous. It's outrageous. But the last piece of it I wanted to mention this morning, on today's show, is that there was interesting background that came out related to how this child ended up with the name Luna. So the mother wants to make him into a girl. This all started, we've been through these details in the past, but this all started because the kid got some toy in a Happy Meal from some fast food chain, and he liked the girl toy instead of the boy toy, and he did a little bit of pretending about being a girl. So the mother takes him that, oh, I get to join the left-wing crazy world of transgendering and pushing my baby. I mean, these kids are 7. These are babies. Pushing this kid to becoming a girl. But the other interesting fact I want to plant the seed about today is have you think about is this. When this loopy conversation began, the mother trying to push the boy into being a girl, the kid was asked, what girl name would he want to have? And so, this is a kid who's immersed in some fantasy about these fanciful, non-existent figures, imaginary figures. So the mom, I don't even want to say the kid's full name on air or the mom's full name, because I really, really think there's just I want this child to have a chance at a normal life. By the way, when this case first came out, people emailed me about it and texted and said, you got to cover this on your show. And don't mention the child's name because this poor kid has enough to deal with in life without having so much publicity about his name. However, sadly, the dad's name, the mom's name, the kid's name is out in the media all over the place. So, it's not really like you can fight that anymore. But I'm not going to show this kid's picture or even say the family's full name. However, I want to share one element of this, which I think really relates to what is the mindset of a 7-year-old? The kid was asked, what, if he was going to be a girl, what name he wanted to have. So there's some pretend story, some fantasy the kid had been watching, which the female figure happened to be called Starfire. So Starfire, the name picked out by the little boy, Starfire was a female figure in this fantasy, in a superhero cartoon called Teen Titans. So the kid says he wants to be Starfire. Starfire was just a cool figure in a fantasy. The mom is the one who said, no, name can't be Starfire, no. Probably sounded too masculine to her. So they went with the name Luna. So this loony mother is pushing the 7-year-old into becoming Luna. And I just wanted to say one last point about this case, and we'll keep talking about it as this goes on, but in this first 5. The idea that kids at age 7 do pretends is about as commonly known as the sun is hot. Kids pretend. It's healthy. Imagination is a great thing. People encourage it in their kids. We have a girl and 2 boys, they're long grown, but we all sorts of pretends growing up. We had the whole Star Wars thing going in the basement of our house outside Washington, D.C. with Millennium Falcon and toys everywhere and people being figures and, be different characters in that fantasy non-existent story, that Star Wars story. And we had pretends related to all the Disney stories. Kids pretend. It's happy, it's healthy for them. It's a way they grow their imagination. That 7-year-old kid, whatever he was saying at the time he was 3, 4, and 5, that the mother jumped onto and decided to legitimize her decision to change his gender, it is the cruelest thing to contort a healthy imagination of a child into a grotesque transgendering of a child into the other gender, which is irreversible. Or even if someone tries a gender transition and then comes back and tries it again and comes back, those stories you can read online involve deeply unhappy, unsettled, confused people whose lives have been ruined by this lunacy. The mother not being willing to enjoy a child's imagination, not being willing to say, hey, this is really fun. We know this story. Now we're watching Teen Titans. We're into this character. But instead to take a child's imagination and abuse that child by deciding I'm going to work on this child to become the opposite gender. Even when the child tells his dad, tells his friends, I like being a boy. I'm a boy. I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. Doesn't matter. This mom is determined. So I'll keep you posted on this story. The fact that the Texas governor has got involved is a signal not only that they're very serious about seeing if there's some way they can stop this mom, but secondly, it's a very reassuring signal that many, many people in America recognize there's something deeply, horribly wrong with a court judgment, even a jury judgment, that says a mom can begin the transgendering process for a 7-year-old boy. And that, my friends, is today's First Five.